Welcome to Dreamtime Diaries, a haven where whispers weave tales of mystery and dreams unfold in the stillness of night. Tonight, we journey deep into the heart of Ravenwood Manor, where secrets lie entwined with the shadows of the past. So settle in, embrace the tranquility, and let your imagination soar as we unveil the mystery of Ravenwood Manor. Once upon a time, nestled deep in the misty forests of England, there stood an old, grand estate known as Ravenwood Manor. The manor, with its towering spires and ivy-covered walls, had seen generations of the Ravenscroft family come and go. It was a place rich with history, secrets, and, as some whispered, shadows of the past. On a particularly foggy evening, the current owner, Lady Eliza Ravenscroft, decided to host a small gathering of friends. The manor, usually quiet and solemn, buzzed with the soft murmur of conversation and the clinking of glasses. The guests, a mix of old acquaintances and new faces, marveled at the intricate woodwork, the antique chandeliers, and the countless portraits adorning the walls. The atmosphere was warm and inviting, yet there was an undercurrent of mystery that seemed to permeate the very air. Among the guests was Inspector Henry Blake, a man known for his sharp mind and keen sense of observation. Lady Eliza had invited him not just as a guest, but with a purpose in mind. For within the depths of Ravenwood Manor lay a mystery that had troubled her for years: the unsolved disappearance of her great-aunt, Lady Evelyn Ravenscroft. Lady Evelyn had vanished one stormy night, nearly 3 decades ago. Despite extensive searches and numerous inquiries, no trace of her was ever found. The family had long since given up hope of discovering the truth, but Lady Eliza could not shake the feeling that the answers lay hidden within the walls of Ravenwood. The manor had always been a place of secrets, and she believed that somewhere within its vast expanse lay the key to the mystery that had haunted her family for so long. As the evening progressed, Lady Eliza found a moment to speak with Inspector Blake. In the dimly lit library, she recounted the tale of Lady Evelyn's disappearance. She spoke of the storm that raged that night, the frantic search, and the eerie silence that followed. The inspector listened intently, his curiosity piqued. Determined to uncover the truth, Inspector Blake decided to stay at the manor for a few days. He began his investigation by interviewing the household staff, many of whom had been with the family for decades. Each had their own recollection of that fateful night, but no one could provide any concrete evidence or leads. The old cook remembered the sound of thunder and the flash of lightning that illuminated the night sky. The maid spoke of a shadowy figure she had seen near the west wing. The gardener recalled finding a single, delicate glove in the rose garden the next morning, its lace trim damp with dew. The manor was a labyrinth of rooms and hallways, each with its own story to tell. The inspector spent hours exploring the estate, hoping to find some clue that had been overlooked. One evening, while searching the extensive library, he stumbled upon a hidden compartment in an old, dusty bookshelf. Inside, he found a diary, Lady Evelyn's diary. The pages were filled with her thoughts, dreams, and fears. As he read through the entries, a pattern began to emerge. Lady Evelyn had been deeply troubled in the weeks leading up to her disappearance. She wrote of strange occurrences, of feeling watched, and of a sense of impending doom. The final entry sent a chill down the inspector's spine. It spoke of a secret meeting with a mysterious figure in the manor's abandoned west wing. Lady Evelyn had written that she feared for her life, but felt compelled to uncover the truth about something she had discovered. The words were hurried, as if she had written them in a state of panic. She mentioned seeing shadows in the corridors and hearing whispers in the night. Her fear was palpable, even through the faded ink on the old parchment. With renewed determination, Inspector Blake made his way to the west wing. The air was thick with dust, and the floorboards creaked under his weight. The once grand rooms were now empty and forgotten, shadows dancing in the flickering candlelight. As he searched the area, he found a hidden door behind a large tapestry. The door was small and almost invisible, blending seamlessly with the ornate woodwork of the walls. The door led to a narrow staircase descending into darkness. With a lantern in hand, Inspector Blake ventured down the steps. The air grew colder, and the walls seemed to close in around him. At the bottom, he discovered a small, hidden chamber. Inside, he found old furniture, a broken mirror, and a chest covered in cobwebs. The room felt like a tomb, untouched by time and shrouded in mystery. Opening the chest, he uncovered a collection of letters and documents. They revealed a clandestine affair between Lady Evelyn and a man named Charles Blackwood, a figure shrouded in mystery and scandal. The letters spoke of their plans to run away together, but also hinted at threats from someone who had discovered their secret. The tone of the letters grew increasingly desperate, as if they knew their time was running out. As Inspector Blake pieced together the puzzle, he realized that Lady Evelyn's disappearance was not a mere accident or a simple case of elopement gone wrong. It was clear that someone had wanted to keep her quiet, someone who had gone to great lengths to ensure that the truth remained buried. The inspector returned to Lady Eliza with his findings. Together, they confronted the remaining family members and staff. It was then that an old butler, Thomas, who had served the family for over 50 years, stepped forward. With tears in his eyes, he confessed that on the night of Lady Evelyn's disappearance, he had seen her being led away by Lord Edward Ravenscroft, her own brother. Lord Edward, it turned out, had discovered the affair and, fearing a scandal that could ruin the family name, had taken drastic measures. He had confronted Lady Evelyn, and in a fit of rage, things had gone terribly wrong. In his panic, he had hidden her body in the secret chamber, hoping that her disappearance would remain an unsolved mystery. The revelation shook the Ravenscroft family to its core. Lord Edward, now a frail old man, confessed to his crime, expressing deep remorse for his actions. Lady Eliza, though heartbroken by the truth, felt a sense of closure knowing what had happened to her beloved great-aunt. The family was left to grapple with the consequences of the dark secret that had haunted them for so long. Inspector Blake, having solved the decades-old mystery, left Ravenwood Manor with a heavy heart, but a sense of accomplishment. The manor, with its secrets now unveiled, seemed a little less haunted. The air felt lighter, and the oppressive atmosphere that had lingered for years began to dissipate. As the days turned into nights, the tale of Ravenwood Manor became a legend, whispered among the villagers and remembered by all who passed by its grand, ivy-covered walls. And in the quiet of the night, if you listened closely, you might still hear the faint echo of Lady Evelyn's laughter, carried on the gentle breeze. The villagers spoke of the manor with a mix of awe and trepidation. Some claimed to have seen Lady Evelyn's ghost, a spectral figure in white, wandering the grounds at twilight. Others swore they heard her voice, soft and melodic, singing an old lullaby. But those who knew the true story understood that Lady Evelyn was finally at peace. Lady Eliza made it her mission to honor her great-aunt's memory. She established a charitable foundation in Lady Evelyn's name, dedicated to helping those in need and preserving the history of the Ravenscroft family. The manor, once a place of mystery and sorrow, became a beacon of hope and renewal. Jane Mansfield, Hollywood starlet, sex symbol, and a woman whose life ended in mystery. Her rise to fame was meteoric, but her tragic and eerie death still raises questions. Dive with us into the glamorous yet dark world of Jane Mansfield. Jane Mansfield was more than a Hollywood starlet. She was a cultural phenomenon, a symbol of 1950s and 60s sexuality. and a woman whose life and death continue to captivate the public imagination. Her story is one of fame, glamour, and a mysterious end that intertwines with the enigmatic world of the Church of Satan. Born Vera Jane Palmer on April 19, 1933, in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania, Jane Mansfield always dreamed of stardom. Her journey began in beauty pageants and modeling, but it was her move to Hollywood that launched her into the stratosphere of fame. Mansfield's bombshell looks, with her platinum blonde hair and voluptuous figure, made her a natural successor to Marilyn Monroe. However, Mansfield was more than just a pretty face. She was a talented actress with a magnetic screen presence. Mansfield's big break came in 1955 when she signed a contract with Warner Brothers. Her role in The Girl Can't Help It, 1956, showcased her comedic talent and solidified her image as a sex symbol. This film, featuring her iconic walk down the street to Little Richard's music, became a defining moment in her career. She continued to captivate audiences in movies like Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter, 1957, and The Wayward Bus, 1957, earning a Golden Globe for the latter. Jane Mansfield's influence extended beyond Hollywood. She became a fixture in the tabloids, known for her glamorous lifestyle, high-profile relationships, and publicity stunts. Her home, dubbed the Pink Palace, was a testament to her larger-than-life persona. Decorated in various shades of pink and filled with heart-shaped furniture, it became a symbol of 1950s Hollywood excess. Her appeal crossed the Atlantic, captivating the imaginations of the Beatles, who were reportedly huge fans of hers. In the early 1960s, as the Beatles were rising to global fame, Mansfield's image and persona influenced their perception of Hollywood glamour. Photographs of her with the Fab Four, particularly a famous shot of her with John Lennon and Ringo Starr, highlight the mutual admiration between Mansfield and the British rock icons. In the mid-1960s, Jane Mansfield's life took a dark and mysterious turn with her association with Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan. This controversial relationship began when Mansfield, fascinated by the occult, attended a ritual at LaVey's infamous Black House in San Francisco. LaVey, a charismatic figure, was known for his theatrical performances and his philosophy that embraced indulgence and personal power. Mansfield's involvement with LaVey and the Church of Satan added a layer of intrigue to her already sensational public persona. While some believed her association with LaVey was a publicity stunt, others saw it as a genuine interest in the occult. Photographs of Mansfield donning a priestess robe and participating in rituals fueled speculation about the depth of her involvement. LaVey himself claimed that Mansfield was his high priestess and that they shared a deep spiritual connection. However, the nature of their relationship remained shrouded in mystery, with conflicting accounts from those who knew them. What is clear is that Mansfield's dalliance with the dark arts added a new dimension to her celebrity, intertwining her legacy with the burgeoning counterculture of the 1960s. The association with LaVey was not without its conflicts. Mansfield's lawyer and lover, Sam Brody, became a central figure in the drama. Brody was openly skeptical and dismissive of LaVey, often clashing with him. According to some accounts, Brody's hostility towards LaVey culminated in a heated confrontation at the Black House. In a dramatic and public altercation, Brody allegedly insulted LaVey and challenged his beliefs. This conflict did not go unnoticed. LaVey, known for his flair for the dramatic, reportedly declared that Brody would face dire consequences for his disrespect. According to LaVey, he placed a curse on Brody, foretelling doom for anyone who dared to cross him. Whether this curse was real or a product of LaVey's theatrical imagination, it added an ominous layer to the story. On June 29, 1967, Jane Mansfield's life was tragically cut short in a car accident that has since become the stuff of legend and conspiracy. Mansfield was traveling from Biloxi, Mississippi to New Orleans with Sam Brody, their driver, and 3 of her children. In the early hours of the morning, their car collided with a tractor-trailer on a dark stretch of US Route 90 near Slidell, Louisiana. The impact instantly killed Mansfield, Brody, and the driver, while her children miraculously survived. The gruesome details of the accident, particularly the rumor that Mansfield was decapitated, added a macabre twist to her already sensational life story. Although official reports clarified that she died from severe head trauma, the decapitation myth persisted, fueled by sensationalist media coverage. The mystery surrounding Mansfield's death deepened with speculation about LaVey's curse. Sam Brody's confrontations with LaVey and the subsequent fatal car crash seemed, to some, like the fulfillment of LaVey's ominous prophecy. This narrative, whether factual or fictional, added a supernatural dimension to Mansfield's tragic end, intertwining her fate with the dark allure of the occult. The legacy of Jane Mansfield and her association with the occult continued to cast a long shadow, even after her death. Her beloved Pink Palace, once a symbol of her vibrant personality and Hollywood success, faced a tragic fate of its own. In 2002, the mansion was demolished, erasing one of the most tangible remnants of Mansfield's life and legacy. The destruction of the Pink Palace marked the end of an era, a poignant reminder of the impermanence of fame and fortune. Similarly, Anton LaVey's Black House, the epicenter of his satanic rituals and a cultural landmark in its own right, also met a mysterious end. In 2001, the eerie Victorian house was demolished, sparking rumors and speculation about its disappearance. For many, the vanishing of the Black House symbolized the end of an era of countercultural rebellion and the fading of a once notorious chapter in San Francisco's history. Despite her untimely death and the destruction of her iconic home, Jane Mansfield's legacy endures. She remains a symbol of Hollywood's golden age, a representation of mid-20th century glamour, and a cautionary tale of the perils of fame. Her association with the Beatles highlights her influence on pop culture, while her involvement with Anton LaVey and the Church of Satan continues to intrigue and mystify. Mansfield's life and death encapsulate the contradictions of her time, the allure of the Hollywood dream juxtaposed with the dark undercurrents of the 1960s counterculture. Her story is one of triumph and tragedy, of a woman who rose to the heights of fame and fell victim to its dangerous allure. Whether viewed as a cautionary tale or a tragic icon, Jane Mansfield's legacy is a testament to the enduring power of celebrity and the mysteries that surround those who achieve it. As the years pass, the legend of Jane Mansfield grows, fueled by the enigmatic details of her life and the unanswered questions surrounding her death. Her story continues to captivate new generations, ensuring that the blonde bombshell with a penchant for pink and a fascination with the occult will never be forgotten. In the vibrant city of Hong Kong in the early 1940s, the Lee family welcomed a child who would become a global icon. Born on November 27, 1940, during the Hour and Year of the Dragon, Bruce Lee seemed destined for greatness. His father, Lee Hoi Chuen, was a famous Cantonese opera star, and his mother, Grace Ho, came from one of Hong Kong's wealthiest families. From a young age, Bruce exhibited an extraordinary talent for martial arts. By his teenage years, he had become a skilled fighter, blending traditional Chinese kung fu with his innovative ideas. But Bruce's ambitions extended far beyond the dojos of Hong Kong. He dreamed of bringing martial arts to the global stage. In 1959, at the age of 18, Bruce moved to the United States. He settled in Seattle, where he enrolled in the University of Washington and began teaching martial arts. It was here that Bruce met his future wife, Linda Emery. Bruce and Linda married in 1964, and soon after, Bruce's unique approach to martial arts caught the attention of Hollywood. He landed roles in television shows and movies, including the iconic series The Green Hornet. Bruce Lee was on the brink of international stardom. However, his journey was not without obstacles. The racial prejudice of the time limited the roles he could get in Hollywood, but Bruce was undeterred. He returned to Hong Kong, where he starred in a series of films that would cement his legacy as a martial arts legend. Films like The Big Boss and Fist of Fury made Bruce a superstar in Asia, but it was Enter the Dragon that propelled him to global fame. As Bruce's star continued to rise, whispers of a dark cloud began to follow him. On July 20th, 1973, at the age of 32, Bruce Lee died suddenly. The official cause was cerebral edema, a swelling of the brain, attributed to an allergic reaction to the painkiller Equagesic. But the suddenness and unexpected nature of his death sparked numerous theories and rumors. Some believed Bruce was the victim of a curse. This theory was rooted in Chinese superstitions about ancestral curses and bad luck. Others speculated about foul play, suggesting that Bruce had enemies who wanted him dead. To understand the context of the superstitious beliefs, it's essential to explore Chinese superstitions and the concept of curses. In Chinese culture, superstitions play a significant role in daily life and decision-making. These beliefs are deeply rooted in ancient traditions and folklore, often intertwined with religious and philosophical teachings from Taoism, Buddhism, and Confucianism. Furthermore, ancestral veneration is a core component of Chinese culture. It is believed that the spirits of deceased family members continue to influence the lives of their descendants. Paying proper respect through rituals and offerings ensures the deceased are appeased and continue to protect their living relatives. Conversely, neglecting these duties can anger the ancestors, leading to misfortune and curses on the family. Also, let's do not forget Feng Shui. Feng Shui, the ancient art of geomancy, is another critical aspect of Chinese superstition. It dictates the placement and orientation of buildings, graves, and even furniture to harmonize with the natural environment. Poor Feng Shui is believed to disrupt the balance and flow of energy, or qi, leading to bad luck or curses. Bruce Lee's parents reportedly sought the advice of Feng Shui masters regarding the placement of his grave, indicating the significance of these beliefs in the Lee family. In addition, zodiac signs and birth dates are playing the role in this as well. Chinese astrology and zodiac signs also contribute to superstitious beliefs. Bruce Lee was born in the year and hour of the dragon, considered one of the most powerful and auspicious signs in the Chinese zodiac. The dragon is associated with strength, success, and good fortune. However, it is also believed that those born under powerful signs must be cautious, as their lives are often marked by significant trials and tribulations. Bruce's dramatic rise and untimely death could be seen as a manifestation of the intense fate predicted by his zodiac sign. Lastly, the power of names is playing an important part. In Chinese culture, names hold significant power. It's common to give children a milk name or nickname during infancy to confuse evil spirits and protect the child's true identity. Bruce Lee was initially named Siphon, meaning small phoenix, a name intended to shield him from harm. Despite these precautions, some believe that revealing his true identity as Bruce Lee and his rising fame might have attracted malevolent forces. The sudden and unexplained nature of Bruce Lee's death at the age of 32 fueled many speculations and theories. The official cause of death was cerebral edema, but this did little to quell the rumors. Some believed Bruce's death was due to an allergic reaction to Equagesic, a painkiller he had taken for a headache. However, others pointed to more sinister explanations. One popular theory was that Bruce had fallen victim to the so-called Curse of the Dragon. According to this belief, the dragon sign, while powerful, demanded a high price. Those born under this sign were thought to be vulnerable to sudden and violent deaths. Bruce's remarkable physical abilities and charismatic presence were seen as a double-edged sword, attracting both admiration and envy, potentially invoking the wrath of jealous rivals or supernatural forces. Another speculation was rooted in Bruce's revolutionary approach to martial arts. Bruce challenged traditional martial arts practices, advocating for a more fluid and adaptable style. This approach, while innovative, angered many traditionalists, who viewed Bruce as a threat to their ancient practices. Some speculated that Bruce had been targeted by these rivals who allegedly used black magic or poisoned him to stop his influence. Beyond individual rivalries, there was a broader belief in a family curse. This idea was supported by the premature deaths of other Lee family members, including Bruce's brother, Peter Lee, who died young. The curse theory suggested that the Lee family had been cursed by an aggrieved ancestor or wronged spirit, resulting in a pattern of untimely deaths and misfortunes. Unfortunately, our story doesn't end here. The notion of a family curse gained further traction with the tragic death of Brandon Lee, Bruce's only son. Brandon pursued a career in martial arts and acting, following in his father's footsteps. In 1993, he landed the lead role in the film The Crow. On March 31st, 1993, during the filming of a scene, Brandon was shot with a prop gun that was supposed to fire blanks, but had a fragment of a live round lodged in the barrel. The accident was fatal, and Brandon died at the age of 28. The eerie similarity between Bruce's and Brandon's deaths fueled speculation about the Lee family curse. Both father and son died young, at the peak of their careers, under sudden and mysterious circumstances. Some pointed to the uncanny parallels as evidence of a curse, suggesting that the same malevolent forces that claimed Bruce had also targeted Brandon. While the official explanation for Brandon's death was a tragic accident caused by negligence on the movie set, many couldn't help but wonder if there was more to the story. The prop gun mishap seemed almost too bizarre to be mere coincidence. Some speculated that supernatural forces were at play, continuing the tragic legacy of the Lee family curse. Despite the allure of the curse narrative, it's essential to consider the more rational explanations. Bruce's death was officially attributed to a medical reaction, and Brandon's was a tragic accident caused by negligence on a movie set. However, the cultural context and the deep-seated superstitions surrounding the Lee family cannot be ignored. Superstitions have a powerful impact on how people interpret events, especially in cultures where these beliefs are deeply ingrained. The idea of a curse provides a framework for making sense of inexplicable tragedies, offering a way to cope with grief and loss. For many, the curse narrative surrounding the Lee family serves as a cautionary tale about the consequences of disrupting tradition and challenging fate. Despite the speculation, the legacy of Bruce and Brandon Lee endures. Bruce's philosophy of martial arts, his groundbreaking films, and his cultural impact continue to inspire millions around the world. Brandon's potential, though tragically cut short, lives on through his work and the love of his fans. The story of the Lee family, whether viewed through the lens of superstition or rationality, remains a poignant reminder of the delicate balance between fate and fortune. In the end, the story of the Lee family is one of triumph and tragedy, of incredible talent and profound loss. Whether you believe in the curse or not, the lives of Bruce and Brandon Lee serve as a testament to the enduring power of their spirit and their indomitable will to overcome the odds. In the heart of the Arabian Peninsula, not far from the holy city of Medina, lies a valley shrouded in mystery and legend. This place, known to locals as Wadi al-Baida, or the Valley of the Jinn, has fascinated and bewildered those who encounter it. The valley is renowned for its strange, seemingly supernatural occurrences, where vehicles and objects appear to move uphill on their own, defying the laws of gravity. This is the story of a man who dared to explore the enigmatic valley, seeking to uncover the truth behind its eerie reputation. Abdullah was a scholar and a skeptic, a man of science who believed that every mystery had a logical explanation. He had heard the tales of the Valley of the Jinn since childhood, stories of unseen forces, of vehicles rolling uphill, and of jinns, the supernatural beings from Islamic mythology, inhabiting the valley. Intrigued by these accounts, Abdullah decided to investigate the phenomenon himself. It was a crisp evening when Abdullah set out from Medina, driving his sturdy old Land Cruiser towards the valley. The sun was setting, casting long shadows over the desert landscape. The air was cool and dry, filled with the scent of sand and distant mountains. As he approached the valley, an uneasy feeling crept over him, but he dismissed it as a mere reaction to the stories he had heard. The road leading into Wadi al-Baida was narrow and winding, flanked by rocky hills that seemed to close in as he drove deeper into the valley. The moon had risen, casting an ethereal glow over the landscape. Finally, he reached a flat stretch of road that sloped gently upward. This was the spot where the mysterious phenomena were said to occur. Abdullah parked his car at the base of the incline and turned off the engine. He stepped out, feeling the cool night air against his skin, and placed a small, round object on the ground, a tennis ball he had brought for the experiment. As he watched, the ball began to roll uphill, defying gravity. A chill ran down Abdullah's spine. He repeated the experiment with his car. Placing the vehicle in neutral, he watched in astonishment as it slowly began to move uphill, seemingly under its own power. He could hear the faint sound of the wind, but otherwise, the valley was eerily silent. Determined to understand the phenomenon, Abdullah set up his equipment. He measured the incline, checked for hidden magnets or other devices, and recorded the entire scene with his camera. As he worked, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. Shadows seemed to dance at the edges of his vision, and the air grew colder, almost biting. Hours passed, and Abdullah gathered enough data to conclude that the phenomenon was likely an optical illusion. The unique layout of the valley, combined with the absence of a visible horizon, created a false sense of an upward slope, when in fact, it was downhill. Satisfied with his findings, he decided to spend the night in his car, planning to return to Medina in the morning. As he settled into his seat, he noticed something peculiar. A faint, distant hum, almost like whispering. He strained to hear, but it seemed to come from all around him, an indistinct murmur that grew louder as the night deepened. His eyes grew heavy, and he drifted into an uneasy sleep. In his dreams, Abdullah found himself wandering the valley. The rocks and sands glowed with an otherworldly light, and the whispering grew clearer, transforming into words he could almost understand. He felt a presence around him, watching, waiting. He called out, "Who are you? What do you want?" A figure emerged from the shadows, a being of light and shadow, both beautiful and terrifying. "We are the jinn," it said, its voice like the rustling of leaves in the wind. "This is our home, and you are not the first to seek us. Many have come before you, and many will come after. We are neither good nor evil, we simply are." Abdullah woke with a start, the morning sun piercing through the windshield. The valley was quiet again, the whispering gone. Shaken, but curious, he reviewed his footage. To his astonishment, the camera had captured strange flickers of light and shadow, and the faint sound of whispering could be heard on the audio. Back in Medina, Abdullah shared his findings with fellow scholars and skeptics. While many were convinced by his explanation of the optical illusion, the footage of the strange lights and whispers sparked debate and fascination. The legend of the Valley of the Jinn grew, blending science with mystery. Abdullah's journey to Wadi al-Baida left him with more questions than answers. He had come seeking the truth and found that sometimes truth is intertwined with legend, each enhancing the other. The Valley of the Jinn remained a place of wonder and mystery, a testament to the power of the unknown. And so, the Valley of the Jinn continued to lure the curious and the brave, each seeking to uncover its secrets. Some found logical explanations, while others returned with tales of the inexplicable. The legend lived on, a reminder that in this vast and ancient world, there are places where the boundaries between reality and myth blur, and where the whispers of the jinn can still be heard in the quiet of the night. Welcome to Dreamtime Diaries, where the past and the paranormal collide. Tonight, we uncover the secrets of New York City's most enigmatic building, the Dakota. Gothic grandeur, whispered curses, and the restless spirits of its dark history come alive as we follow Emily on her chilling journey. Dare to explore with us? Hit that subscribe button and let the mystery begin. In the heart of New York City's Upper West Side stands the Dakota, a building shrouded in mystery and history. Its Gothic architecture looms large against the night sky, casting long shadows over the street below. Built in the late 19th century, the Dakota is not only an architectural marvel, but also a repository of untold stories, restless spirits, and whispered curses. Among the Dakota's many residents, both past and present, few names resonate as strongly as John Lennon. The former Beatle lived in the Dakota with his wife, Yoko Ono, and it was outside this very building that he tragically met his end. Yet, the Dakota's eerie reputation predates even Lennon's arrival. One crisp autumn night, long after the city's hustle had quieted, Emily, a new tenant of the Dakota, found herself unable to sleep. The stories she had heard about the building's ghosts swirled in her mind. Tales of curses cast upon the building and whispers of occult rituals performed in the shadows. To calm her thoughts, she decided to take a late-night stroll through the grand, dimly lit halls. As she wandered, Emily marveled at the Dakota's intricate woodwork and antique furnishings. Her footsteps echoed softly, the sound swallowed by the building's vast, cavernous spaces. She approached a window at the end of the hallway, looking out over the courtyard where the leaves rustled gently in the breeze. It was then that she felt it, a chill that prickled her skin and made her breath hitch. She turned, and there in the dim light stood a young girl, dressed in clothes from another era. Her eyes were wide, and her expression one of profound sadness. "Who are you?" Emily asked, her voice barely a whisper. The girl said nothing, but lifted her hand to point down the hallway. Intrigued and oddly unafraid, Emily followed the silent child. They passed closed doors and darkened corners until they reached a grand, sweeping staircase. The girl descended, her footsteps soundless on the plush carpet. At the bottom of the stairs, Emily saw a woman in a long, flowing dress, her back turned. She was weeping softly, the sound heart-wrenching in the otherwise silent night. The girl approached the woman, placing a small hand on her arm. The woman turned, and Emily saw a face etched with sorrow, eyes red from crying. Before Emily could speak, a sudden rush of wind blew through the hallway, extinguishing the few lit candles. When the light returned, the ghosts were gone. Emily stood alone, the air thick with the remnants of sorrow and a lingering chill. The next day, Emily shared her encounter with Mrs. Harper, an elderly resident who had lived in the Dakota for decades. Mrs. Harper listened intently, her face a mask of knowing concern. "You've seen them then," she said softly. "The girl and the woman. They've been here for as long as anyone can remember. Some say the girl was a resident's child who fell ill and died in the building. The woman, her mother, was so grief-stricken that her spirit remains, searching for her lost daughter." Emily shivered, the previous night's encounter feeling even more real in the daylight. "And the crying woman?" "Many believe she is another spirit entirely, perhaps a former resident who suffered great sorrow. The Dakota has seen its share of tragedy over the years." Mrs. Harper's expression grew even more serious. "You know, there are stories that go even deeper. Some say the Dakota was cursed from the start. The building's design, with its gargoyles and intricate stonework, was said to be influenced by occult practices. There were rumors that its architect, Henry Janeway Hardenberg, dabbled in the dark arts, infusing the structure with mystical symbols meant to protect or perhaps trap its inhabitants. Emily's eyes widened. "Do you believe those stories?" Mrs. Harper sighed. "I've lived here long enough to know that this building holds many secrets. There are tales of strange rituals in the basement, symbols carved into the foundation stones. and even the occasional sighting of hooded figures in the dead of night. Whether they are true or not, the Dakota has always had an air of mystery about it. Intrigued by Mrs. Harper's revelations, Emily decided to delve deeper into the Dakota's history. She visited the New York Public Library, poring over old newspapers and architectural journals. She discovered that Hardenberg had indeed been fascinated by esoteric philosophies and occult symbols. Some articles suggested that he had incorporated protective sigils and runes into the Dakota's very foundation, meant to ward off evil spirits. Yet, as often is the case with the occult, such protections can sometimes backfire, trapping restless spirits within the building's confines. Emily also found references to a series of mysterious deaths and accidents during the Dakota's construction. Workers claimed to hear whispers in the night and see shadowy figures flitting about the scaffolding. A few men even quit, convinced that the site was cursed. The most unsettling story was about a foreman who allegedly vanished without a trace, leaving only a cryptic note that read, "The darkness claims us all." As Emily delved deeper, she uncovered more recent tales. During the 1960s, a group of residents formed a secretive club dedicated to exploring the occult. They met in the Dakota's basement, conducting seances and attempting to communicate with the building's spirits. One night, their leader, a man named Victor Sterling, disappeared during a particularly intense seance. His body was never found, but participants claimed they saw him being pulled into a shadowy void by unseen forces. The more Emily learned, the more the building seemed to come alive with dark energy. She began to notice strange symbols etched into the woodwork and stone. Symbols she had initially overlooked, but now recognized from her research. The sense of an unseen presence grew stronger, especially at night. Late one night, as she was returning to her apartment, Emily felt a strange compulsion to visit the basement. She descended the stairs, her heart pounding in her chest. She reached the heavy wooden door, now familiar, and pushed it open. The room was dark and empty, the air thick with anticipation. As she stepped inside, the door slammed shut behind her. Emily felt a chill run down her spine as the temperature dropped. She fumbled for her flashlight, its beam cutting through the darkness. The symbols on the walls seemed to glow faintly, pulsating with a life of their own. Suddenly, she heard whispers, soft and intelligible murmurs that grew louder and more insistent. She turned, and there in the corner stood the girl and the woman, their eyes fixed on her. The room seemed to close in around her, the air thick with an unseen force. Emily steeled herself. "What do you want from me?" she demanded, her voice trembling. The girl stepped forward, her eyes pleading. "Help us," she whispered. Emily felt a surge of determination. She knew she had to find a way to release these trapped spirits. She began to recite the cleansing ritual she had learned from Professor Jameson, her voice steady and strong. The room shook, the symbols on the walls glowing brighter. The whispers turned to wails, the spirits reacting to her words. Emily continued, her voice unwavering. The temperature dropped further, and she felt a cold hand brush against her cheek. She closed her eyes, focusing on the ritual. Suddenly, there was a blinding flash of light. When Emily opened her eyes, the room was empty. The oppressive energy had lifted, replaced by a sense of calm. She felt a warm breeze brush past her, and she knew the spirits had found peace. Exhausted but relieved, Emily made her way back to her apartment. She knew the Dakota would always hold its mysteries, but she had made a difference. The building seemed lighter, the air less oppressive. The ghosts of the past had been laid to rest, and the Dakota, with its curses and its history, could finally move forward. As she drifted off to sleep, Emily felt a sense of satisfaction. She had faced the darkness and emerged victorious. The Dakota, with its ghosts, its history, and its whispered curses, would always be a part of her. But now, she could live in peace, knowing she had helped bring light to the shadows. Tonight, we unravel the legend of the vanishing hotel room, a tale that whispers through the cobbled streets and ancient buildings of this eternal city. Join us as we step back to the grand 1889 Exposition Universelle, where a young woman named Claire faced an unimaginable mystery in the shadow of the newly risen Eiffel Tower. Prepare to be captivated by a story that dances on the thin line between reality and the unknown. In the heart of Paris, amidst the enchanting lights and timeless beauty, lies a mystery that has puzzled many for over a century. Imagine, if you will, a tale that unfolds in the shadow of the grand 1889 Exposition Universelle. It was a time when the Eiffel Tower had just pierced the Parisian sky, and the city was alive with innovation and grandeur. This is the story of the vanishing hotel room, a legend that whispers through the cobbled streets and ancient buildings of this eternal city. Our story begins with a young woman named Claire and her mother, Madame Devereux, who traveled to Paris for the Grand Exposition. They arrived at a lavish hotel, one that seemed to shimmer with the promise of unforgettable memories. The hotel, with its ornate facade and welcoming staff, was the epitome of Parisian elegance. Upon their arrival, Madame Devereux began to feel unwell. The hotel doctor was summoned, and he suggested that Claire fetch a specific medicine from a pharmacy on the far side of the city. With her heart heavy with worry, but her mind focused on her task, Claire set off into the bustling Parisian streets, leaving her mother in the care of the hotel staff. Hours passed, and as dusk settled over Paris, Claire returned to the hotel with the medicine in hand. She hurried to their room, but to her astonishment, the room appeared different. The plush velvet drapes, the ornate furniture, and even the view from the window seemed altered. Panic gripped her heart as she searched for her mother, but Madame Devereux was nowhere to be found. Claire rushed to the reception, her voice trembling, as she demanded to know what had happened. The staff, with polite but firm expressions, denied any knowledge of Claire or her mother. They insisted that no such guests had ever checked into the hotel. Desperation turned to dread as Claire realized she was facing an unimaginable mystery. In the days that followed, Claire searched every corner of the city, hoping to find a trace of her mother. She spoke to shopkeepers, questioned strangers, and even sought the help of the police, but no one could help her. The hotel maintained its stance, denying any involvement or knowledge of the missing Madame Devereux. As the story of Claire's plight spread, whispers of the vanishing hotel room began to circulate. Some spoke of ghosts and curses, believing that the hotel was haunted by spirits who could manipulate reality. Others speculated about sinister conspiracies, suggesting that powerful figures might be behind the disappearance, their motives shrouded in secrecy. Some say the hotel itself was a phantom, appearing and disappearing at will. Perhaps Claire and her mother had unwittingly stepped into a space where the veil between the living and the dead was thin, where time and place could shift like the mists over the Seine. Others believed that Madame Devereux had been the victim of a dark plot. Perhaps she had seen or known something she shouldn't have, and powerful enemies had orchestrated her disappearance, using the hotel staff as their unwitting accomplices. There were those who thought the entire ordeal might have been a figment of Claire's troubled mind. Faced with her mother's illness and the stress of being in a foreign city, could Claire have suffered a psychological break, inventing a reality that masked a more painful truth? As years passed, Claire's story became a legend, a chilling bedtime tale whispered in hushed tones. The vanishing hotel room took on a life of its own, morphing with each retelling. It became a symbol of the unknown, a reminder that even in a city as vibrant and full of life as Paris, mysteries could lurk in the shadows. People who visited Paris often found themselves drawn to the locations mentioned in the legend. They walked the same streets Claire had walked, gazed up at the grand hotels, and wondered if they too might one day encounter the enigmatic vanishing hotel room. Some claimed to have experienced strange occurrences, a sudden chill, a fleeting shadow, or the eerie feeling of being watched. Even today, the legend of the vanishing hotel room endures. It serves as a bedtime story for adults, a reminder of the thin line between reality and the unknown. It is a tale that invites us to ponder the mysteries of life, the things we cannot explain, and the stories that continue to haunt us. As you lay down to rest, let the story of Claire and her mother drift through your thoughts. Imagine the flickering gas lamps of Paris, the sound of footsteps echoing on cobblestones, and the distant murmur of the Seine. Remember that some mysteries may never be solved, and some stories are meant to linger in the twilight, where reality and imagination intertwine. So, dear listener, as you close your eyes and drift into slumber, keep a part of this legend with you. Let it remind you of the magic and mystery that still exist in our world, just waiting to be discovered. For in the realm of dreams and stories, anything is possible, and the vanishing hotel room remains a testament to the enduring allure of the unknown. Thank you for watching Dreamtime Diaries. If you enjoyed this dive into Vanishing Hotel Room, please subscribe, like, and share. Stay tuned for more mysterious and haunting tales. Good night, and keep the lights on.